Добрый день, уважаемые коллеги, зрители, кто
Good afternoon, dear colleagues and spectators, everybody who has joined our broadcasting. I'm very happy to greet you here at our online conference. So today we will be talking about the new mechanisms of promoting Russian technological companies in the markets of the Middle East. We're now located in the city of Yekaterinburg, and our speakers will join us from various countries and cities. My name is Lyubov Bukleeva, and I will be moderating our today's meeting. Dear spectators, you can leave all your questions on the website wellguestforum.ru, and you can find the address on the website of the broadcast. We will discuss most actual questions at the end of the online meeting. And now I'm happy to present our today's speakers. Here with us today in Yekaterinburg is the head of the oil and gas cluster, Alexander Sakevich. Hello. Video connection will be organized with the head of the oil and gas equipment for the fuel and power sector of the Ministry of Commerce and Trade, Shamil Yulgushev. The city of Tyumen will bring us closer to Vadim Pantelyev, and from St. Petersburg, another participant, head of the production directorate, Gazprom Oil, Sergei Doktor. Three speakers will join us from Abu Dhabi, head on technological development of Gazprom Neft, Alexey Vashkevich, head of the project office on commercialization, Gazprom Oil, Denis Prokofiev, and the head of the investor relationship department, Abu Dhabi Investment Office, Suad Al Hosseini. So we're happy to start our online conference. The oil and gas companies of Middle East are interested in getting new technologies to develop the reservoirs and to produce sour gas. Our national industry has got the right knowledge and competence regarding the acid gas production. In particular, this knowledge is possessed by Gazprom Oil. So that helps us get an access to the market of the United Arab Emirates, one of the most promising markets in the world. And I would like to give the floor to the head of the production directorate, Gazprom Oil. He will join us from St. Petersburg. Sergei, what are the plans for Gazprom Oil in the Middle East? Good afternoon, dear colleagues. During this year, we've been investigating this business opportunity, and we think that it has a huge potential. Our hypothesis is the following. We're now recovering some very complex reserves in the Middle East, and sometimes we do it even better than our colleagues from the Western companies. The hypothesis is the following. This is a very complex product, and it might have a very high potential, and it might be in real demand in the Middle East. Why Middle East? It's Middle East because this is the largest region in the volumes of recovery and production. Our business model would work right not just for the Middle East. It's a wonderful business opportunity for any place in the world where oil is produced. The business model means that we use a complex, holistic approach. We're ready to render various services associated with oil production. We can demonstrate particular opportunities associated with this business model. The purpose for us, however, is not just promoting one of the ecosystem participants. We want to bring together all the participants. So we, as a production company, are a consolidator for other companies. So we, as a producer, are a part of the ecosystem, and that's how we create value. My colleagues will repeat it probably several times, and they will explain what exactly the value of Gazprom Oil is. However, one should understand, it's not a pure goal to enter the Middle East market. We're already there. Instead of it, the main purpose is to create additional value for ourselves and for the potential vendors in the Middle East. I'm done with this. Thank you.
Конечно, осуществить такие грандиозные
Thanks a
планы.
lot. Of course, trying to implement such huge plans without support would be too difficult. Let's go back to Tumen. In 2019, with the support of the Tumen government, they created the oil and gas cluster. And I'd like to give the floor to Andrei Pantelеев, Deputy Governor of the Tumen region. How will the cluster help the companies enter the Middle East market? Good afternoon, dear colleagues. First of all, I would like to say thanks to our colleagues representing the investment bloc from the United Arab Emirates. At the end of last year, together with the Ministry of Industry and Commerce delegation, we visited a special exhibition, a special fair at ADIPAC in the Abu Dhabi Emirate. Thanks to our colleagues, we managed to visit Hub 71, which generates lots of technological solutions. They accelerate and bring together all those solutions. So we scrutinized a number of areas in high-tech development. We started thinking about promoting Russian technologies in the Middle East, and we started to communicate and cooperate with our cluster colleagues. A little bit of background information on this. Tumen region is a large region where almost 55% of the Russian oil is produced and 85% of the Russian gas is produced. For 60 years, the cluster has been performing in this region. And we recently signed a new memorandum of cooperation, which will help us organize new technological value chains to answer the challenges for the Russian companies. And the same challenges are shared by the UAE companies that produce oil there. Clearly, entering this market independently, company by company, would be too complex, and that is why Gazprom Oil will play a major role in bringing the companies together and in developing specific standards of promoting our technologies. That will be done with the help of developing particular methodologies. Gazprom Oil is already functioning on the territories of the Middle East. So how can the cluster help us? First of all, they will help us create the funnel and project to proceed into the Middle East to create the so-called transparent corridor with a particular guidance on actions which should be taken to start businesses in the Middle East. And in this respect, I would like to say special thanks to our participants. We're all aware of this problem, that production and technology that comes into the market of the Middle East, it has to be certified by the American Oil and Gas Institute. Special thanks to our colleagues from the Ministry of Industry and Commerce for the work that they're doing together with the Oil and Gas Technological Initiatives Institution. They're now working out the standards, which in the future will help Russian technologies enter the Middle Eastern market. I'm totally sure that the interest in our today's event is huge. The interest of the oil companies and the cluster participants and UAE. And the main purpose for us is to create a model which could facilitate the works and reduce the time frame, the mark to market for the project. With regards to this, we as a region and as a cluster are ready to constantly maintain this work and support it with particular steps. We will continue developing this approach. We are sure that we will definitely achieve success. We think that the time has come to achieve success. We're always open for dialogue. We're ready to support you. And we're happy to communicate with all the Russian producers, not only on the territory of Russia, but also when you enter the Middle East. Thank you. Thanks a lot. We will talk more about the practical mechanisms today. We're already starting to get questions. Let me remind you that the Q&A session will take place only after all the presenters are done. Now I would like to give the floor to the head of the Oil and Gas Equipment Department of the Machinery Building Department for the Fuel and Power Energy of the Ministry of Industry and Commerce, Shamil Yulgushev. Shamil, would you please tell us more about the communication with the UAE?
Good afternoon, Lyubov.
Good afternoon, dear colleagues. In the agenda of the Russian Emirates relationship, the oil and gas sector plays a very important role, even in spite of the fact that nowadays it's pretty unpopular to discuss this topic of hydrogen and the topics of the new technological developments. So far, we have concentrated on the part of the taxonomy for the equipment, which can already be implemented. In this respect, our first step will be the following. The Ministry of Industry and Commerce, together with the machine-building companies, participated in a special machine building fair. That happened for the first time when we came to know most important counterparties in the Arab Emirates market. You know that that was the ADNOC company. At that moment, ADNOC mostly worked with us via a partnership model. And the key role was then in that development, and the biggest part of that property belonged to the public. And now we're concentrating on joint business to satisfy the needs of the ADNOC company. And we know that ADNOC is among the top 5 oil and gas companies in the world. At the end of the fair, we realized that the oil and gas sector in Emirates is totally open, and they are really interested in welcoming Russian technologies. There is quite a big number of Russian technologies that could be localized on the territory of the Emirates. So yes, I do want the technologies and the initiative that we're now implementing together with our colleagues from the cluster and with the support of Andrei Panteleev is very important. I think that would be the right step towards promoting our local producers. Most of our producers are located in the Tyumen region and also on the territory of the whole country, but the producers should not just concentrate on our domestic market, they should also think about exports. This will allow the companies grow, and when they will be developing their business models, they will have a chance to focus on these large scales. They will scale the business and scale the production, because when they are expanding the delivery and when they're going beyond the country border, the projects become more feasible, more viable. Now, let's think about the market expansion for oil and gas. We all know that there are particular details. Andrei has already mentioned it. One of the details here is special standards used to organize the procurement procedures. And that is true both for ADNOC and all the other oil and gas companies. So the key requirement in the Arab Emirates is compliance with the local standards and the API standards and ESME standards and all the other foreign standards. We have to overcome this barrier. So to overcome it, we have created a special task force. The task force concentrates on standardization and certification of the oil and gas equipment. We're paying a lot of attention to this issue because the decision about creating such task force was taken after the sitting of the work group on collaboration in the sphere of industry. And after the sittings of all that working group, the decision was taken to create a task force on this particular issue. Together with our colleagues from the Arab Emirates, we've got together so many times. We sat down on table and discussed the prospective issues. So we can now confirm that we do need collaboration to support Russian ventures and to help Russian organizations comply with the standardization processes. And we should comply with all that to get licensed according to the international standards. Of course, all that has to do with some peculiarities. But in general, the government supported the initiative of creating something similar to API. And now we're as close to action as never before. We have a similar organization. It's an autonomous organization, INTI. It was initiated by Gazprom Neft, Sibur, and Tatneft. The main purpose of INTI is the following. It is about creating a platform to promote communication between producers and consumers, improving the standards, and creating a full-fledged procedure of compliance to the above-mentioned standards. So basically, this is the model which is used by API. Our colleagues are currently participating. So our colleagues have already worked out the issue about approving the standards together with ADNOC company. Our colleagues are in the stage of negotiations with ADNOC. They have already approved around 14 standards on oil and gas equipment. So we can see that in the future, the implementation of these standards and their introduction into the procurement procedure will help us relieve the barrier on admitting Russian companies. The Russian companies in that case will have this confirmation from INTI, and they will have a chance to enter the market of the Arab Emirates. That was a wonderful experience that has been with us for 4 years. We see that this is the model which will help us secure the export function and to expand the production and help us deliver on the territories of the Middle East and even farther on. Colleagues, we really welcome the initiatives of the organizations in that respect, the regional support, and we hope that we will succeed in further promotion of exports. Thank you. Thanks a lot for so much information, and we will go back to the capital of the United Arab Emirates. We're welcoming the head of the Abu Dhabi Investment Office, Fuad Al-Hosseini, head of the Client Department. We'd like to know what are the support measures, methods of support in Abu Dhabi on scaling foreign business in the United Arab Emirates.
Good afternoon from Abu Dhabi, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Saad Al-Hosseini, and I'm the Director of Investor Relations at Abu Dhabi Investment Office. It gives me the pleasure to be here with you today and to see a lot of familiar faces within the call. I'm going to present you a short presentation about Abu Dhabi Investment Office and the ecosystem of Abu Dhabi. And listening to the previous speakers, I can see that a lot of you have been here already, have visited Abu Dhabi, and will be looking forward to working closely with the Russian community, the Russian companies, and with companies from all over the world to have Abu Dhabi as their home. Next slide, please. I always like to start my presentation with a quote by our late Sheikh Zayed bin Sultan Al Nahyan. He once said, I dreamt of our land keeping pace with the growth of the modern world. As you may know, we are a very young country. We are only 50 years old. We have achieved a lot in a very short time. And we have reached Mars. We have the Expo now. I would stay till tomorrow, not because the United Arab Emirates is my country, but what we have achieved in a very short time has impressed the whole world and the whole globe of the partnerships, the initiatives, the expansions that happened, especially with people from the youth. Next slide, please. I will take a few more minutes onto this slide as I speak more about the Abu Dhabi ecosystem. As you may know, Abu Dhabi contributes 60% to the United Arab Emirates GDP. We have a GDP of $249 billion in 2019, and we are one of the 30 top global economies around the world. It's 80% of a flight from Asia to Abu Dhabi and from Europe to Abu Dhabi. So how we are positioned within the globe has been very sufficient for businesses who wants to do between the United Arab Emirates and the Asia and the other part of the world. One of the important parts for investors is basically that there is no income tax in the United Arab Emirates, so it's 0%. And this is a very added value for investors, and especially those who want to move their headquarters, their hubs into the Emirate of Abu Dhabi, as there is no tax implementations and it's 0% of income tax. Also, 100% ownership has been a new law that has been implemented this year. In the past, companies required an Emirati partner with them. Now, you no longer need that. You can actually run your business yourself, and you can own 100% of the company onshore and offshore. What I mean by onshore and offshore is basically onshore means partnerships with entities like ADNOC and the biggest oil and gas players, specifically as the topic was concerned in the beginning, and also other sectors that are important for Russian companies in the Emirate of Abu Dhabi specialized in technologies. From a free zone perspective, we have 5 main free zones in the Emirate of Abu Dhabi. First of all, we have Masdar, which is focused on renewable energy. The biggest players in the renewable energy sector are based in Masdar. The second free zone that we have is Kizat, which is Khalifa Port. It's the largest land port for those entities looking to trade within the region. So basically you want to do trade with Saudi, with Bahrain, with all the neighboring countries. Kizat is well situated and ready to host your companies and your entities from a manufacturing perspective into that hub. Then for those who would look for free zones, we have the Abu Dhabi Airport free zone. For those who are into financial sector and would like to go through the international British law and common law and follow the regulations of the financial sectors, it is Abu Dhabi Global Market. And those companies who are into media, we have the 2454. We have more than 200 nationalities living in Abu Dhabi. So a lot of investors ask me, Saad, how is the access to talent pool? We have a lot of talent in the Emirate of Abu Dhabi, and the access to different nationalities, different sectors, different careers is very easy within the Emirate. Next slide, please. Let me talk more about the Abu Dhabi innovation ecosystem that might be interested for you. First of all, I'd like to give some credit, of course, to Gazprom Neft. I have been working with them for almost a year. We have been working very closely with the leadership as well with the members into expanding their plans into the Emirate of Abu Dhabi. And it has been an absolute great experience working with different stakeholders within the government. And we are looking forward to working also with other Russian companies in the Emirate of Abu Dhabi and supporting them the same way we are doing with your colleagues from Gazprom Neft in order to expand their presence in the Emirate and help them navigate the whole market in the best way. In 2019, His Highness Sheikh Mohammed announced the largest accelerator program, which is Ghadan 21, which means tomorrow 21. This accelerator program is around 50 billion dirham and has been expanded this year into 2 billion dirham extra. And this might be interesting for technology and clients in this event, as long with those who are looking for R&D projects. Abu Dhabi announced 5 priority sectors. Those are ICT, anything in IT, financial technology, anything in fintech, blockchain technologies, agriculture technology, anything in agri-tech, anything within tourism, and then anything with healthcare and biopharma. But this doesn't mean that the classic sectors are important to us. So there are traditional sectors, including oil and gas, defense, renewable, AI. Those will be always an important sector for the Emirate. But the rebates program that Abu Dhabi Investment Office provides, that I'll explain to you later, focuses on those 5 main sectors. A lot of investor comes to us and tell me, Saad, what's the funding options you have? How can we raise funds? You know, some people are ready and some people are looking to raise funds. We work with Abu Dhabi ecosystem. As you may know, Abu Dhabi hosts 3 of the largest sovereign funds in the region. Abu Dhabi Investment Authority, which is ADIA, ADQ, which is Abu Dhabi Holding, and Mubadala Company, as you know, are the biggest sovereign funds in the region. We as Abu Dhabi Investment Office, we help navigate the investor journey in the ecosystem, which means if an investor comes here, he fits the criteria for, Mubadala or for the ecosystem, we will be more than happy to do these introductions to them. So we will basically hold this investor hand, introduce him to the ecosystem, introduce him to potential funding partners, and help him navigate. Now, from a research and R&D perspective for companies who are looking for R&D, Abu Dhabi hosts the biggest and the largest universities, which includes Sorbonne, Khalifa University, INSEAD, University of Artificial Intelligence, the Coding and University that has been announced by G42, and much more. So the message that I'm trying to relay to you guys is that Abu Dhabi is the next home for your business, for R&D, for expansion, for technology, for manufacturing. We'll be more than happy to assist you and support you in the process. Next, please. Who are we? We are the promotion agency of the Emirate of Abu Dhabi. We promote Abu Dhabi as an investment destination. We attract innovative focused companies into the Emirate, and we facilitate. So we basically help the investor from A to Z into the Emirate of Abu Dhabi. Next. We provide 3 main services: the investor care services, which is basically introductions to the ecosystems, whether it's ADNOC, whether it's Edge, whether it's Tawazun, whether it's Mubadala. We will help the investor find his way in the Emirate of Abu Dhabi. We will explain to him the best way to set up businesses, how to set up, how to hire people, where to set up, how to navigate the business, how to do the funding. This is what our investor care services is. Next slides, please. So this is the main services from the investor care, which I mentioned: data, networking, licensing, banking, talent, everything you need to set up in Abu Dhabi. Next slide, please. So as we mentioned before, we provide financial and non-financial incentives. So we provide rebates. As you used to invest before, but we no longer invest or match directly. It moved to ADQ, which is Abu Dhabi Holding. We provide rebates, and we have signed with more than 30 companies. Name them: Aerofarms, RDI, Amazon Web Services, and much more of companies in different sectors who moved their excellence centers and their R&D centers into the Emirate of Abu Dhabi. Which means in the future, if there is a company that qualifies to the qualification and criteria of our incentives, we will be more than happy to help them through the rebates model in the Emirate of Abu Dhabi. Next slide, please. A lot of investors ask me, Saad, what do you rebate on? And how does the rebates work, which is very important. I'll just go through it now quickly, but after this presentation, our colleagues will be more than happy to share my contact details, and then I will escalate it internally to the right teams. So we look basically at the number of high-skilled jobs created, the number of Emirati jobs created, the planned innovation, and the economic impact. Abu Dhabi government will rebate you on the salaries, on the cost, on the rent, on the capital expenditure, or in the Emirate of Abu Dhabi. You keep 100% ownership, you keep your IP, but the aim of it is basically to develop and enhance and diversify the economy of Abu Dhabi. So it's a pay and reclaim model. If any of the attendees is interested into this program, after the call, let me know, and we will be more than happy to explain to you the application process in order to host you in the Emirate of Abu Dhabi. Next, please. Last but not least is our PPP model. So basically, Abu Dhabi government is going towards long-term agreements between the private sector and the government partners. Most of the infrastructure projects are moving to this model. So Abu Dhabi Investment Office prepares and plans prepares and plans the tenders and the paperwork for the different entities, and then the entities will send them for tendering process. If any of the attendees is also interested to understand more about the PPP model, you can download the guidebook on our website and get all the information requested. Next, please. Next, please. Last but not least, on our website, you have the Abu Dhabi Prospectus and the Abu Dhabi Investment Guide that is updated regularly. For those attendees who want to understand more about the ecosystem, kindly download it. And we're here to support you. We're here to welcome you, and we'll be looking forward to seeing you all in person very soon. Thank you very much for your time, and looking forward to a fruitful webinar. I will be here for the Q&A sessions later. Thank you so much, Basiba, and all the best. Thank you so much.
Большое спасибо. Теперь ситуация становится все
Thanks a lot, Swat. So it's becoming clearer and clearer. Now let's get down to details. I can see that we're accepting lots and lots of questions. Our speakers will answer most interesting questions at the end of the presentation, so please stay with us until the end of the broadcast. Why is the Middle East so important for Gazprom Oil? It will be explained by the head on technological development, Gazprom Oil Open-Joy Stock Company, Alexey Vashkevich. Good afternoon, dear colleagues. I'm very happy to greet you all here. Thank you for finding time for the broadcast. Lots of most important things have already been mentioned today. I wouldn't like to reiterate what my colleagues have already said. We know what the opportunities of the Middle East are. Of course, this is a very deep market, and it's an even premium segment market if you compare it to the international arena. Just like many other markets, it's now in a very active phase of transformation. Currently, all the companies that we meet are absolutely open, and they are not just happy about communicating with the Russian companies. They also consider the new types of cooperation, and that's what I would like to stress. As for our traditional model, we've got the reserve users companies, and we've got machinery builders, and we've got the producers, and it all has to do with a linear relationship across the participants. But the value for the clients and for the country is now transforming. It's becoming even more complex because the resources are becoming more complex, and the macroeconomic situation is complicating, and the pressure is also increasing. All that requires new forms and formats, not to lose the added value. So the idea of creating the open ecosystems is one of the most promising trends in the modern market, and the Middle East in this respect is one of the examples. That is why the ecosystem format and the cooperation format and the ability to agree quickly and to increase your competencies and to form a single proposition is something that will mark the winners of this competition. That is why we have to organize some coordinating positions. Gazprom is already testing some of the things and performing some general cooperation. We're working close with Anatoly's team. We're already trying to solve some of the first issues, and we're thinking about the models that we're building. So there is a very important role in this process in attracting a big number of interested parties who should understand what the Middle East is about and what profits it could give them. So based on our experience, first we thought that would be unbreakable, that will be uncoverable, there will be administrative barriers, but now we've been here for a year and we understand that some of the things were surprisingly easy and that was flexible and quick. and they were really ready for the challenges. So historically, we underestimated our developments. We always think that the Western quality is always better and the Western guys are more progressive and so on and so forth. But it's not like that at all. We are really progressive, and that should be our strength in the process of the system development. That's probably it from me, and I will try to answer your questions if there are any. Thanks a lot. That was a very inspiring speech. Let's continue the topic and give the floor to the head of the commercialization office, Gazprom Oil, Denis Prokofiev, on the key technological inquiries of the Middle East companies and on the opportunity of creating an innovation hub. Thanks a lot. Huge thanks to Alexei. He put it absolutely right. We're here on the margins of the summit, so we're very sorry about the background noises. Let's have a look at the slides that we prepared for you. Dear participants, let's have a look at our slides. So, dear friends, today I would like to tell you not just about the UAE, even though this is a very important hub. I'd like to talk about the whole region in general. This is a very large market. Moreover, it's not just a unified single market, it's a whole constellation of large markets. You can see them on the map. And it includes all the major players in the world. In spite of the challenges associated with the energy transfer, this region is really inclined to continue working in the sphere of oil and gas. They will be looking for new ways of monetizing their resources. Gazprom oil analysis is very exciting in this respect. We analyzed the countries based on 6 technologies. And these technologies include some traditional ones and some unusual ones. The traditional ones include the brownfields, and the non-traditional ones include, let's say, unconventionals, like gas and oil shales. So all that requires a lot of exploration and development, and Russia is really good at exploration and development. But then we start thinking about the hydrogen production and the CO2 waste management. In the next slide, we're showing you McKinsey analysis, and you can see from the figures that in these 2 key challenges, in tight oils and in mature fields, we have some significant plans. You see that the recovery in some of the reservoirs is dropping, and that results in higher demand for special technologies, for better reservoir management and more complex technologies. At the same time, we'll have to start working with other tight reserves, and the companies are looking for efficient and inexpensive hydraulic fracturing. In the next slide, you can see the main targets of collaboration with ADNOC. Company strategy is associated with 3 large pillars, especially in upstream. So first of all, these are the tight oils, increasing recovery from 4 to 5 million barrels a day. I think that this is a very serious statement that the country is making. They make a bet on the fact that the hydrocarbons will be in demand in the world in the long term. And the third pillar is the energy transfer technologies. From the following graph, you can see how many challenges there are. These are the domestic challenges of the ADNOC company. So it's mostly about the most important technologies, drilling and well completion. So the technologies in Russia that developed during the last 5 to 7 years will really be in demand. In the next slide, you can see the strategic stakes of Egypt. Egypt is a market very different from the UAE, and it's not simple at all. And there is quite a large potential of increasing the oil production. That is why we work in line with the reserve users. So what does Egypt need? We are well aware of all those challenges. First of all, they need mechanized production, a scientific approach to reservoir management, and the speed and quality of the well construction. Nothing extraordinary. We know how to do that in Russia. Let's have a look at the next slide. It illustrates the innovative hub by Gazprom Oil. First of all, a huge thanks to Swad, who has just presented, and another thanks to the team of the Abu Dhabi Investment Office, ADIO. They are ready to help us communicating with the large player. And they really support the large players entering the Abu Dhabi market. We also value the communication with the oil and gas cluster. Together, we are creating a bridge for the Russian technology to the large region of the Middle East. How are we planning to work with the oil and gas cluster? We will be working in Russia and choosing the companies that have already achieved some stage of maturity, from the standpoint of the technologies and from the standpoint of human resources and funding. Entering a new region has to be thought over, it has to be balanced, and of course, it's very resource consuming. On our behalf, we will be ready to help those mature companies, to help them position themselves, to help them develop the companies in the Middle East, and to use the opportunities from our partners. And Gazprom Oil has already developed lots of connections, and we've done a lot of networking in the country. And we're not just thinking about Abu Dhabi. Abu Dhabi is just the first step and a wonderful place for a regional hub. However, we're looking at other territories. Right now, our team is in the Saudi Arabia at a large conference of BTC. Last week, we visited Egypt. So very briefly about what we can already do to help the companies that will be recommended to enter the cluster. We can perform the market assessment, we can help them with the business development, and we can help them build very strong relationships with the potential buyers, to check out the product and to check the underlying hypothesis, to think about the standardization, certification, what are the peculiarities of the market, etc., etc. I'm done at this, and I will be very happy to answer your questions. Thank you. Thanks again. We're getting closer to the questions. Just one more presentation, and we're going back to the city of Yekaterinburg. Our colleagues are saying good afternoon from Yekaterinburg. Here with me is the head of the oil and gas cluster, Alexander Sakevich. Alexander, what about the practical implementation? How will the work be organized? Good afternoon, dear colleagues. I think I will be concluding our today's conference. A lot has been said about the fact that the United Arab Emirates and the Middle East market is a premium segment market. But at the same time, in this market, they already have particular requirements, and there is some high competition as well. We know that until today, Russian companies that entered the market achieved success in implementing their technologies. But there are very few of them, and that can be easily explained. The thing is that in this market, as we probably all know, in this market, they were mostly using production hydrogen technologies of the Big Four. But now, thanks to the fact that Gazprom Oil started working there, and thanks to the fact that we started promoting our portfolio technologies, this is a completely different picture. Together with our colleagues from Rosneft, we created a similar model of entering the Arab Emirates market via our partners. with the help of ADNOC company. The model is the following. The technological developments that ADNOC is using and the technologies that they are ready to use are first tested in Russia. We describe them very precisely, then we translate the documents and submit the information to our companies, and we check out whether everything that's proposed is relevant. Together with our colleagues from Rosneft, we will continue working on promoting the technologies that we find really promising, something that can be used in the Middle East. Most important part of this work is turning it into a particular model, into a particular system. And the first step towards it will be a joint business mission with the support of the Ministry of Industry and Commerce. And during that mission, during the visit, we will be touching the soil. We will try to understand how we should enter the country, which partners to choose. And one more important thing, something that's done by the Institute of the Oil and Gas Initiatives. We will be promoting Russian standards, and a lot depends on it. Most important thing that depends on it is whether our standards will be well represented in the country and how the standards will be perceived by the majors of the market like ADNOC. Technological improvement there will really accelerate. We know that the API standard is very difficult to get, and very often our industries have to rebuild more than half of their production to get the API standardization. But I really do believe in success. We're being very optimistic. And as I have already mentioned, the model of working with Gazprom oil, the working mode that we tested in the Russian market, will also be perceived positively in the Middle East market. Thanks to all our speakers, and now it's time to get down to the questions. It's time to answer them. There is a question to Alexei. Good afternoon. Are you talking about just the sour gas, or is it about other types of gases? The question comes from our colleagues from AGM. Yes, good afternoon once again. In general, in the Middle East, if you look at the regions, you will see that probably only including Qatar, the traditional gas reservoirs are missing, traditional the way we see them. So all the countries are experiencing some lack of gas, and this lack, the absence of gas will be even, the situation with the lack of gas will be deteriorating. First of all, the Middle East is concentrating on renewables, and second, they're also concentrating on hydrogen. Hydrogen is a very good bet, and many companies have already formed their strategy on hydrogen. And for the hydrogen, you definitely need gas. It's a source of hydrogen production, and it's the energy for hydrogen production. And talking about the reservoirs, we're now talking about the non-traditional, low-permeable reservoirs. This type of reservoirs is quite widespread. They are present across all the region, but the development of such reservoirs requires compatible technologies. Something like for the Bazhena formation, the Manica formation that we have in Russia. From the standpoint of the gas quality, the gas is pretty nice. Clearly, the composition of the gas varies from formation to formation, but in general, the quality is pretty high. Thanks a lot for your answer. Alexei, don't get disconnected because we've got another question to you. Could you please tell us more about the innovative technology suggested by Gazprom Neft for the Middle Eastern market? Well, that could take really a lot of time. First of all, we're not just suggesting some mono products. Instead, we're trying to figure out what exactly our partners need. We mostly focus on the challenges of every particular company. And when we started working with that NOC, that's what we started with. We checked out all the challenges that the company has enumerated. And then for each challenge, we tried to find the right solution that we had at Gazprom Oil. So we submitted it to our colleagues and we said that they could study it and they could stimulate it, especially in the sphere of hydraulic fracturing for the reservoirs. That was one of the products that our colleagues got really interested in. And we're now in the testing phase. Second important business line is searching for some combination of solutions. The combination of solutions which would provide them with a complex idea. So you can create a complex solution to overcome this or that problem. That is why we're now investigating various approaches used by the companies into forming the ecosystems. So we're not just providing a simulator for the gas production, but we're playing a role of an integrated operator who could help them implement it. We're not owning the resource base, but we can suggest a complex solution, provide them with the equipment, services, and management, which is very important. Sergey said that at the very beginning. Most valuable thing provided by Gazprom Oil is the ability to manage operations. To manage the operations performed hundreds of times on our sites. The ability to integrate and the ability to find the fit-for-purpose solutions, most optimal ones, and doing it at a very competitive price is our main target, and that's basically the value that we're providing our partners with. Thanks a lot once again. We're getting more and more questions, but some of them are pretty personal. So, dear spectators, we've got some questions to Dennis. He showed some context, right? So please get connected with Dennis. We will upload the broadcast onto the website. The joint business mission of Gazprom Oil with the support of the Ministry of Industry and Commerce will take place in March, from the 23rd to 25th of March 2022. If you want to participate, please leave an application on oilandgas.ru. Please join. That is a wonderful opportunity to expand your business geography. And once again, I would like to say thanks to our speakers for their time and for the wonderful information provided. Dear spectators, thank you very much for your interest in the broadcast and thank you for staying us until the very end of our discussion. If you missed something or if you want to re-listen and re-watch, please enter the website oilandgasforum.ru, watch the broadcast once again. Don't miss it.